Rhythm number 44, I call it blues with space. I love playing slow blues, and I love playing in the key of G. And this is a great combination of all those things. There's some cool open strings that we're able to use, and just some, basically simple G chords here and there. Some susses, sevenths, slides, all kinds of cool, good stuff. Let's get started with this one and create some space for our blues. So when I play a slow blues, this is some of the stuff I like to do. Let's start off right at the top where we're in the key of G, and you can play this G9, which is basically the A9 that we learned earlier, down a whole step. I'm going to keep that tremolo on too because it's really cool, and when I play a slow blues, I like to add some movement because it's it's slow and there's not a lot going on, so the tremolo kind of adds this cool atmosphere. It could be swampy or whatever you want to call it. So one of those typical moves, remember we did the slides from the sixths. What we're going to do is just break that apart and take those two notes from those chords. Notice I'm kind of using my finger on my right hand to kind of grab those two strings, the fourth and second strings. We're sliding from the F and D up into the G and the E for the one chord. Then it goes to the 4 chord. You could switch fingers, or you could keep the pinky and third if you'd like. Then I play that diminished chord. And what's cool about a diminished chord, we could call that C sharp diminished, C sharp being there. And we learned that chord earlier on. Back to the 1 riff. Now here's what I really dig. I'm playing sort of like a G7 sus type of sound. The reason I say that is because here's our F on the 4th string, the open G, which is our root, and then the C, which gives us that sus4 sound. And then when I let it go, that's kind of like a little G7 triad right there. What's nice is that resolution happens from that sus chord, sounds pretty cool. Then I play a riff going into the 4 chord. So we start basically sliding into the 7th fret, 5th string. That's your E, to the G, up to the 9th on that B, 4th string, D, 3rd string, and then I grab the G on the 2nd string there, 8th fret. Then I do a little slide into the 10th frets. Now what's going to happen here is that same move that we did earlier with the 6th and 9ths, the same thing we did down here, but now we're in the 4 chord area for the C6, C9. Then I slide again, and my first finger grabs that first string C on the 8th fret. Then I play what you could call a G diminished, the G being here, or a C sharp diminished again. Diminished 7, these would all be as well. But we learned that shape earlier too, so I'm giving you all things that we've already touched on. Now we're in different keys with maybe a little different sound, a little different style. You can keep that fingering like that, it sets you up nicely for this diminished chord. Then we're going to go back to our riff. sus sound again to the G. Now when we go to the turnaround to the 5, there it is. What we do is we slide into the 7th fret with the D and B notes, then down to the C and A. So think about that being over the 5 chord, which would be D7 in this G blues. Then we're going to play the same deal, but when we slide back, we're going to grab that 7th chord inversion, which you should know by now. But now it's a C7, the C being on this 1st fret, 2nd string. And then what I do is something kind of cool is I voice lead up into the turnaround here. And I play this kind of deal. What I'm going to do is that movement. It's kind of weird sounding, but I think it's neat because it slides you into those oncoming chords that are about to happen. So the C, and then I put an F in the bass, and then an F sharp in the bass. And you're not really hanging out on those for so long, because what you then do is jump into this good old regular G chord. And what I'm playing here is the G on the 6th string, 3rd fret. Then I'm skipping and I'm going to 4 open, 3 open, 2nd string, D. And it gives that sort of good rootsy, swampy thing if you change your pickup. Have a nice little, almost kind of country vibe there. Then right to the C9, back to the G, walk up to your D7 note. You could even play the chord if you wanted to, a D9 or a D7. But it's cool. I call it blues with space because there's so much space happening here and there's a lot of interpretation. All those great sus chords. So try it. Get some blues, get some space, put your tremolo on. Have a good time with this one.